Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. So about a month ago when I was in Europe, I posted about how I qualified for World Championships through my results at the Europe International Championships. And moment of truth, I just did the math wrong and I actually did not qualify. I was still about 16 points away from qualifying. So this past weekend, my local organizers hosted a cup of 50 points if you win the whole thing. And so I said, you know what? All right, let's do it for real this time. And I was able to sweep the whole tournament. I'll talk more about the team as we get into the battles. But yeah, let's dive right into it. Before we get into the battles, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you'd like private one-on-one coaching, scrims against me, some of my league guides and strategies ahead of time, or even tune into my live stream battles, feel free to sign up through the Patreon link down below. So like most local tournaments, there's a Swiss round. So you just play a certain amount of rounds depending on how many players are in the tournament. For this one, we had 4 rounds of Swiss. And then after that, the top 4 players will play in a single elimination playoff. So depending on your record, you could lose 1 game, sometimes 2 series in 4 rounds. But typically, if you just win all the way through or just lose once, you're in the playoffs. Going against XjeraldX in this first set of battles. Worlds qualifier from last year, also made top cut last year in Worlds. And I battled him a lot, so there are always some close battles. Now, I have a pretty good lead matchup here. My team is, as noticeably as you can see, fairly weak to Whiscash, but Whiscash doesn't really hard beat anything outside the Bastion. Charge Bug is actually not too bad here. And you can see I'm actually swapping to the Charge Bug because I'm trying to draw potentially a Whiscash if he has one in the back. I think, actually, no, I wasn't really worried about the Whiscash. I think I was worried about, I'm not really sure what I was worried about, to be honest. Maybe his Charge Bug. But I had the Night Leap in the back. It felt pretty strong for whatever he may have. Catching a Gligar on the lead is going to be really great for my Night Leap. I'm running Night Slash combination here just because it's just faster pacing and just better in my opinion. Energy advantage on Night Leap is pretty nasty. So let's see what he has in back. Well, overall, I'm feeling pretty good. I know that the Gligar's in the back, but everything else can't really beat this Annihilate, especially with the energy lead I have. I go straight for the Shadow Ball. I'm not sure if that's the best decision or not. But I know that I'll pace him the second one. Obviously, if he catches, that's a whole different story. And so I'm trying to wait for it, and he catches perfectly. Catches the full Shadow Ball, too, which is pretty rough. I'm trying to catch a move. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do it. I need the Dark Pulse there, but I don't even think I get the Aerial Ace off in time. And at this point, I know that I think I just get outpaced or just get Seal Wing down. Yeah, I get outpaced. That's why I threw the Night Slash. But just not enough. Fantastic plays from Gerald. Unfortunately, that was my game to win, but fumbled it a little bit in the end. Probably should have paused a little bit, but sometimes a little bit trickier in the moment. All right. Skarmory lead. Fantastic lead for me. My guess is he's probably, I don't know, ABA weak to it. He does swap into Whiscash, which is pretty nice. And then I'm just going to go straight for the Cresselia. Cresselia is going to be able to pretty much one-shot the Whiscash from this health range. So we do get attack drop, but not the end of the world. Honestly, landing the Flamethrower, although resistant, does put the Whiscash pretty much in knockout range. So that's actually kind of nice. I'm going to start shielding as well. Obviously, I don't really start shielding Mud Bomb, so I'd rather shield Scald, a little harder hitting for sure. I also am just trying to take out this Whiscash as soon as possible. He actually hard locks in his Skarmory, which is actually really good for me. So I'm just bringing my Bastion at this point. This is really good because he doesn't really have a lot of health left on that Whiscash. Obviously, if Poliwrath is a little bit trickier, but everything else is not really going to appreciate the Bastion energy. Whiscash is the only thing that really resists it outside of the Poliwrath, but the Whiscash is pretty much taken out at this point. I'm just going to throw a Zone Edge in case he goes for a potential catch, but I don't think our switch timers are even up, so arguably that could just be a little bit BM, but in the moment, I was just like, yeah, I'll just throw it and see what happens. He does bring in the Whiscash again, which makes me think it's probably not a Poliwrath in the back. Ends up being Gligar, which is pretty good for me because I have my own Gligar in the back, and that's going to do a lot of damage. And he can't even go Aerial Ace here. He has to Dig, and you can see taking quite a bit of damage in the process. He wasn't really truly ABA weak to Bassi, I guess, but Gligar swapping into Bassi is a little bit uncomfortable for the Gligar. So I can see where he was going with there. And I mean, he technically did catch the Flamethrower, so it was still pretty good. All right, this is a pretty bad lead for me. Very bad lead, actually. I'm going to swap to my Manabuzz. Manabuzz is fairly safe into his team. The only thing it really loses to is that Charge Bug and Poliwrath. He hasn't really brought Poliwrath at all at this point in time, and Charge Bug's not terrible, especially with the energy lead I had. It actually comes in Skarmory, which is pretty good for me, because I could force a shield at this point in time. So that's going to be really, really nice. And we got the shield, which is perfect. I'm just not going shield at this point. I kind of need the shield advantage for a potential sweep setup. My Cresselia should be pretty strong in the back, unless it's a Charge Bug. Charge Bug would be a huge pain for the Nihilip as well, so that's just GG's if it is. He is going to come in with the Gligar again, and I'm going to come in with the Cresselia. At this point, he's staying in, and he's even baiting, which makes me think that he's fairly weak to the Cresselia. So it's either Poliwrath or it's either Whiscash at this point, is what I thought. It's unlikely that it's Poliwrath, because I feel like Poliwrath is also going to struggle against a Nihilip, especially my Nihilip having that much energy. Him double baiting me with Aerials really shows that he is pretty weak to this Cresselia in the back. That being said, I know I'm going to lose Charge Attack priority, so I'm just over farming a little bit. He goes for another Aerial Ace. I wasn't expecting this. I thought he was going to go for the Dig. I also clearly miscounted. That being said, yeah, I should have just thrown the Grass Knot a little bit sooner. Ends up being the Whiscash. He's going the non-Shadow Whiscash, so he's going to tank this damage much better. But at the same time, I could tank the Scald a little bit better as well. And I know that I should be able to survive. And we get to the Night Slash before they do. So, really close games with Gerald, but managed to come away with it, especially after kind of fumbling that first game. Going against EightTheGreat, another local mine who recently qualified for World Championships as well. Running a Whimsicott too. Pretty funky team. This is actually a Water Gun Lantern. These are open team sheets. Obviously, I don't have the space to show you all the movesets, but I do remember that it is a Water Gun Lantern, and that is kind of a problem for my team. It's much stronger into pretty much everything except for the Manabuzz. It's better than Gligar, it's better than Bastion, it's better than Charge Bug. So, a little bit kind of a pain. That being said, Manabuzz is a lot stronger into it, but not that much stronger. I mean, it's still super bulky, it has super effective Thunderbolts, and you can see the Water Gun damage is adding up quite a bit. I'm putting it closer into Dark Pulse range, though. And I'm thinking at this point, okay, it's probably worth shielding a potential Thunderbolt, but he actually goes Surf. So, yeah, a little uncomfortable for me. Should be able to grab a shield back. But, and then I just hard swap my Cresselia in and see what he has in the back. I really can't remember what it was. Maybe it was a Skarmory. I don't know. Skarmory is not going to be a good time. Oh, it's a Gligar. Yeah, this is actually not too bad. Especially because I have my own Gligar, but he's going to come away with a decent amount of energy, and Shadow Gligar is kind of annoying to deal with for pretty much everything. I can't really catch anything, right, because he's going to be throwing Aerials either way. But I think I'm probably just going to swap to my own Gligar so I just don't get taken out instantly. Yeah, that's actually pretty solid, all things considered. We catch a Body Slam, which, I mean, it's still the move of choice, right, so it's not really that helpful. I think I just let this, I end up shielding, okay. I'm actually not sure what's going to do a little bit more damage, Aerial Ace or Body Slam. I should probably look into that. But either way, I was going to be in Wayne attack range if I didn't do anything there. We do get our Aerial Ace off. I assume he probably shields this, and then I just don't have the headway to get to the Dark Pulse. I need the Dark Pulse at that point. Aerial is just not enough. So kind of close game, but not really. I don't know. It was fairly neutral matchups, all things considered. I think EightTheGreat just played it a little bit better than I did. This is not a great situation. I obviously Manabuzz is kind of neutral into the Skarmory, but I have two better answers in the back, especially up shields. And Nihilip is pretty good to Skarmory. We do draw the Gligar, so that's pretty good. But I have no idea what's in the back still. And I'm actually not as worried about Whimsicott, just because Whimsicott's not even that good into Manabuzz. So we get this matchup. I'm going to take a decent amount of damage from the Aerial Ace, but I think coming away with a little bit of energy might be helpful. So we'll see how that goes. And Yeah, I think I just overfarmed a little bit here. I mean, I guess I'm max energy at this point, so that's fine. Got about as much energy as I could. I can't really snarl down from that range. Comes back in with the Skarmory. And then he is going to throw a move. I have to shield it. I'm thinking, all right, it's probably like something fairly neutral in the back. I was hoping it's like a Vigoroth or Whiscash maybe would be nice. We got the Gligar out of the way already. But he just goes for the double Sky Attack, which I have to shield. I mean, there's just no way I just don't shield this. But I'm thinking at this point, it's probably the Lantern, which is not good for my Mana Buzz, especially because my Mana Buzz is chunked on health. I get boost. I get the boost for sure, which is kind of nice. And I get a little greedy. I go for the Shadow Ball. Should have just gone for the Night Slash. Not able to do it. I'll let you all be the judge of this. Is this enough damage for Night Slash to be enough? Maybe. It would have been close. I would have to get the Aerial Ace off as well. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we end up going 0-2 against EightTheGreat. So, next we're going against xogremlyn, who actually ran the same exact team as me. Obviously, my team's actually kind of weak to Bastion as well. So, tries to go for the Dig Catch, actually. Really good attempt, but unfortunately, I was going for the bait. So, this puts us in a really good spot. Chance to flip switch at this point. But yeah. Mirror teams are not something I see very often, but I did create this team, so I kind of know generally the weaknesses and how to play around it. But obviously Bastion is fairly strong into my own team too. Like most people, I don't prep for Bastion either. So, but shield advantage, Annihilate is pretty good. We do get the Bastion locked in here though, so I'm thinking maybe it's a Charge Bug in the back. But shield advantage. Annihilate is super strong into this whole team. And I was able to get the Gligar out of the way. So that's pretty much my biggest threat to worry about. Comes back in with the Gligar. So it makes me think that, okay, maybe it's not the Charge Bug. Still could be. But it's going to be the Annihilate. So we're going to win this shields down on their side. But yeah. It's going to be a pretty good one. I would say that outside of the Cup that I'm playing in right now, there was actually a challenge. So another local tournament. Pretty much everyone that played in the Cup played in this one. And xogremlyn also made top cut in that one, the playoffs, with the same team. So I did as well. So, you know, not saying it's anything particular, but I feel like the team's pretty good. If two people running the same exact team could make it into the top cut. All right, we get a pretty good situation here. I forgot what the lead is, but I remember them being pretty weak to Bastion the lead, and this is not a great kind of swap either. Maybe just fishing for some debuffs. Grass Knot's typically the move of choice. I believe they are running Grass Knot with Moonblast. Small chance they might be running Grass Knot Future Sight. I don't really recall specifically. I don't have water types on my team anyway, so I don't remember exactly. Yeah, but so Mana Buzz, not going to be the best check to this. Yeah, so just really unfortunately not bring any Bastion counters. But after seeing Bastion the first game, I was like, you know what? I think they're onto something. Bastion is actually pretty good into my own team, so I decided to bring it and found the perfect time to bring it. We have the Gligar in the back. Gligar is also fairly strong into my team. Kind of weird. It's one of the most meta Pokemon, but honestly, I think if you know how to play around some of these neutral matchups, you're okay. Obviously, you have the Mirror neutral matchup. You have Mana Buzz, which mostly wins. Cresselia fairly neutral. Bastion's not terrible with shields, and especially if you're shielding the dig. And Charge Ball gets it kind of low. Energy Advantage Annihilate is not terrible. I mean, it's not great. It's a losing matchup, but it could be worse. Actually, it probably can't be that much worse. But that being said, if you want to run this team yourself, I think there's actually a lot of neutral play with it. Having hard counters like Dugong and Azumarill, I felt like were my previous strategies in previous tournaments, but they also felt a little bit limiting because of how polarizing they were. They just had kind of hard loss into some certain matchups, whereas relying on more neutral matchups allow me to be more flexible. And pretty much everyone I face has a Shadow Gligar. We lost to EightTheGreat, but I don't even think the Gligar was the problem in that one. We faced Frostfire in this fourth and final round of the Swiss stage. I'm 2-1 at this point in time, so I need to win this one to have a chance in the playoffs. We catch a fantastic lead, and able to grab a shield with the Aerial Ace bait as well, which is kind of nice. But yeah, I just pretty much need to maintain switch advantage if I can. Although my Gligar in the back is actually fairly strong. as well. So I'm actually not too worried, because worst case scenario for my Gligar is a Skarmory. And if that's the case, I just bring Annihilate and he has to stay in. But I guess I go for Switch Advantage instead, which is probably still the smart play on my end. If he does have Skarmory, he just brings it in, and I just stay in at that point. Don't get the Aerial Ace off, but that's fine. Ends up being a Skarmory, actually. I forgot about this battle, so I actually don't. I'm genuinely surprised. I forgot about it. But this is going to be pretty good. We have a good position. We do get the shield as well with the bait, which is nice. And then now I could go straight Shadow Ball. And my Gligar's going to be pretty fine into that Vigoroth as well. So I'm chilling. Yeah. And I think at this point, I don't even have to show my third, which is nice. Always good to just prevent some of that info from leaking in the first game, so that opponents can't really know exactly what's in your full line of 3. You can really build strategies around that for games 2 and potentially 3 around that. Okay, going to game number 2. Again, a must-win situation. Brings Vigoroth lead again. I was not expecting this. But I'm going to say swap the Gligar. Potentially could draw a Skarmory if possible. He actually stays in to throw the Body Slam, and then ends up being the Whiscash. This is actually not too bad for me, because he still has to throw the Scald to do any meaningful damage. He could potentially bait with Mud Bomb, but it is what if that happens. We do get debuffed, unfortunately. I swapped out that matchup because Mana Buzz, even though it could beat Vigoroth, it's kind of an uncomfortable matchup, and I have slightly better matchups in the back, so I figured why not just draw the Skarmory if I could. I'm going to go and catch the Scald here, which is kind of nice. And even if it comes Vigoroth, not the end of the world. So obviously I'm banking at this point that he doesn't have the Skarmory. If he does, I just straight up lose. Because it just doesn't... I don't have enough play with the Gligar and the Cresselia. But my guess is if he had the Skarmory, he would have came into my Gligar with it already. We get to another Dark Pulse, which is kind of nice. Unfortunately, he does get the... oh no, not quite. Maybe could have got the full counter down. I just got to Aerial Ace, but I don't think I survived the counter to get to it. Either way, though, we'll take it. Some extra energy on the Cresselia is going to be nice for sure. Ends up being the Gligar instead. So, again, kind of neutral matchups. I mean, Shadow Gligar is pretty strong to my team, so I get it. I understand why Frostfire brought it and everyone else brought it, but there's enough neutral play in my opinion. Ooh, I end up calling the potential dig. Ends up working out a little bit. I think I have to potentially avoid a catch. You can see this time I actually properly pause, unlike when I played against Gerald. And yeah, and able to get that. I forgot that there's still the Whiscash, so probably could have farmed up a little bit more, but we just outpaced the Gligar. Cresselia with the sweep there, just finishing off all 3 Pokemon by themselves. And so, yeah, we made it into elimination playoffs. Tongue twister. Let's grab the cat for this one. Come here, Chegs. All right. So, we are against Haydonus in this first matchup. He was actually undefeated in the Swiss rounds. We obviously didn't face him. But this is going to be an interesting one. The team... Ooh, sorry. My camera and everything's falling apart right now. Oh my goodness. All right. Work with me, Chegs. This is the exciting battles. All right. We have a Talonflame, Shadow Alolan Sandslash, and Shadow Gallade. Not the best of times for my team. Shadow Alolan Sandslash is also running Powder Snow, which is much better into my whole team outside of the Cresselia. Funny enough, I do get the Cresselia on it. But that being said, yeah, it's pretty strong into my team. Mana Buzz would be a lot better in that matchup if I didn't have to worry about the Powder Snow damage. Talonflame obviously in the lead. I couldn't really swap in the Cresselia. My Charge Bug is actually fairly safe into his team, though. It has some things that it loses to, but it has a lot of play against everything. So my whole thought process is I'm going to bring at least the Charge Bug into every matchup. But at this point in time in this matchup, it's going to be on the harder side. I know. The Talonflame is rough. All right, she's just out of here. She's not feeling it. That's fine. I get destroyed in the first game. So we have to go into game number 2, see what happens. This is single elimination, so kind of must-win situations for sure. And he actually safe swapped the Alolan Sandslash. I actually was a little thrown off by this. I actually didn't even expect it to happen that quickly, so I was a little slow on the swap. Actually goes to the Ice Punch instead of the Drill Run, but doesn't throw a second move anyway, so I guess it ends up working out. Licktung's back in, and we boost right on the first one, and that's always a good time because this is where things go kind of downhill, unfortunately, for Haydonus. To no fault of his own, obviously, but all right, we're gonna shield the Power Whip for sure, and then it's gonna be a Lantern. I'm not even gonna bait around here. I mean, I'm not even gonna go for the Shadow Ball. I'm just gonna go straight for the Night Slash. The damage is really gonna add up. At this point, the Charge Bug, like I said, had a lot of play already in the back end. It's going to have a lot of play with just the Lantern at half health. And I think he pretty much just conceded at this point. It was like, all right, let's move on to the next game. But, yeah. And we are able to throw the X's here and take out the Licktung. All right, so game number 3. We need to figure out a game plan here. Talonflame in the lead is kind of rough. Honestly, Bastion beats 3 out of his 6 pretty hard. I don't actually catch the lead at once. It's not terrible into Lantern though, so I'm hoping to potentially draw out the Talonflame or Altaria. He goes for the Surf and then makes a crazy catch on the Talonflame. I did not expect that. So really great catch from him. But we have a lot of energy too. I just need to be able to get off one more move, and I somehow do. So I end up flipping Switch, which is not too bad. However, I don't really have great answers to this Lantern, so I had to come back in Bastion anyway. But that's fine. So that's why I hard swapped to Bastion, because he doesn't have a lot of great hard checks to Bastion either. Gallade is obviously the hardest check, but it still has to commit the close combat. And I can start tripping away with the Flamethrower. And he does shield, so that's going to be pretty good for me. I've seen all 3 of his Pokemon at this point, so I'm just going to let the close combat go. Now he's pretty much within Aerial Ace range. I'm going to shield the potential next close combat because this does a lot of damage. Ends up baiting me with a Leaf Blade, which is a little uncomfortable, but is what it is. I doubt he was going to bait me twice, though, and yeah, not going to be the case. Going to optimize here. I probably could have got greedy and not optimized because I figured he was going to shield at that point. I know my Mana Burst can survive 1 Thunderbolts. 2 is going to be iffy. So I go for the baits, and luckily he does shield it, and we get a Dark Pulse before the next Thunderbolt. So super close games in that last one. I think we both brought our signature pick, my Bastion, his Shadow Glade. At least for this tournament, it was kind of his signature pick. Only one I saw that ran it. We faced Boomerbrhel in the finals. This is the last round of the playoffs with the 2 remaining players. So yeah, 1 best of 3 left. And what I noticed on his team instantly is he doesn't have Shadow Gligar, which makes my Charge Bug really safe. You could grab shields off of Whiscash, as you can see here, with Charge Bug, and you can even flip Switch, especially if you land the first Exeter, which is exactly what happened. He was actually vocalizing too. He's like, oh, maybe I should shield the first one. And I've been to this matchup myself in GBL a few times, and when I realized, wait, Charge Bug is actually kind of busted, even this matchup. And you can see I barely hang on with 1 HP and a Dream, and we take out the Whiscash, we flip Switch, and now we're in a really good spot. All things considered, though, it probably would have been fine because he had a Nihilape and a Charge Bug, so my Gligar was going to be in a really good position either way. But if it was something else, it would have been a little bit more troublesome. But yeah, we end up winning this first one pretty nicely. And let's see what we can do in game number 3. I don't think Bastion's really... it's not terrible on the team, but there's 2 matchups that you really don't want to see. End up catching the Whiscash in the lead here. I think my play here is potentially just safe swap to Cresselia. Cresselia is actually fairly safe in this team, outside the Charge Bug. So I'm gonna just come in Cresselia, see what happens. Get hit with the Scalds. I think I got debuffed, and then in comes the Lickitung. So probably no Charge Bug in this specific matchup, which is fine with me. But yeah, so let's see what happens. Again, my Charge Bug is just very strong into his team in general, and we have a shield advantage, so I'm just really going to try to capitalize on that charge bug whenever I can. Again, it's still possible he has a charge bug in the back, but my guess is probably not. Mana Buzz will definitely be a problem for my Annihilate for sure. But I'm just going to come in with Annihilate and just start farming a lot of energy. This energy is going to go pretty far, even against the Whiscash. Don't have to spend a shield either, which is really, really nice. And at this point in time, he comes in with the Whiscash. It could be a bait, but at this point, I just need to... oh yeah, and it's a charge bug. So charge bug does come in. I go straight for the Shadow Ball. We land it, which is super nice. And then I'm going to go straight for the Night Slash at this point before they get to a move. And then we just bring in our Whiscash. And this is pretty much GG's, yeah. So, a little tougher in the Swiss round against EightTheGreat, but able to bounce back and pull off some wins against opponents. And as you can see, I'm finishing off this Whiscash. And once I finish off the Whiscash, I essentially win the cup, getting me my 50 points and officially qualifying myself for World Championships in Honolulu, Hawaii this year. So, really cool team, in my opinion. I think it's a lot of fun to play. People don't really know how to pilot Bastiodon, but hopefully these videos are helpful for anyone that wants to. Again, I think it's actually really strong in this current meta. You can see it play out a couple times in the tournament I played in here. Thank you all for watching. If you end up using this team at one of your locals or at any tournaments, let me know. Let me know how it goes. Again, it takes some practice to get used to, but overall, I think as long as you figure out certain lines of 3 that you like and recognize just the strengths and weaknesses of the team, you'll do pretty well. So best of luck if you compete yourself, and best of luck to anyone still chasing that qualification to World Championships. We have about a few months left, but we're getting close to the finish line. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video. And I'll catch you all next time. Peace.